Recording in progress.
Quiet down there. I'm kidding, you know that. We welcome you to the Army of our business. On February 18th, 2026. When we, since we're gonna have a lot of people on the thing. First, we're gonna take roll call, but I just want each of you all to be sure to say your name, if you make a motion, if you. Do a second. Talk about this. So first of all, we are going to, and you all that are on Zoom, in a minute after we introduce ourselves, would like for you to introduce yourself. Right there. And we'll do that just a second. I'll call on you on the Zoom. We're gonna probably get the Zoomers. I'm George Blankenship from Pipeline.
Michael Johnson from Russellville, Gerald Saber, Fort Eyes,
Scott Wood, Batesville.
Jimmy Jones, Ramsey.
Michael Moitz, Conway.
Kenneth Gentry, Queen, Arkansas.
Michael Justice and Bill White Ford, Volkswagen.
Thank
There
you.
would be speaker down on the bottom.
Kenneth Gentry, DeQueen, Arkansas.
Thank you. Fire.
Yeah.
Why are you here? Okay, we'll go to the next one.
Trevor Hopkins, Mitchell Blackside, Kilo Roberts. Don Aquilino from the Motor Vehicle Commission.
Margie Sagstaff for the Motor Vehicle Commission. Commission.
Aaron Lowry, Attorney General's Office.
Daniel Pace, Motor Vehicle Commission.
Thank you. Did we miss anybody on Zoom? All right. You've been sent the minutes and everything else in your packet. I need a motion, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 21st, 2026 meeting.
Michael Johnson, motion to approve. Scott Wood, second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the January 21st, 2026 meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Ms. Joy, did you like the small changes we made to the minutes for those meetings?
I did. Did y'all notice? Yes.
Look
It looks like Alexis problem thing.
I noticed it when I read it.
I did.
I thought the same thing, Alexis is working on this.
Yep. That's great. Makes it easier for us.
That was Daniel's idea.
Well, it's great. Like this. Very much. Thank you. Thank you. Those are approved. Now we'll go on to our reports and information items. Daniel Pass.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. We'll go through revenue and expenditures and let you guys look at that and hopefully approve it. As of today, we're sitting at 388,796.46 total in revenue deposits, license revenue, and penalty revenue on the year. That's as of last week's deposit. I think we have a little over 1,400 or 1,500, maybe a little more in there for the last couple of days we need deposits. So that'll get us up over 390 on the year this week when we get another deposit. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now. That's just the macro view. Your next report after that, the next two reports is going to be Alexis's reports on both licensing and penalties revenue. So remember that GL account number 403-200-1000 is your penalties that have been paid up to this point on the year in revenue. And then that next report, the 403-302-7000, shows you all of the licensing revenue deposits separated out by day. So we have collected almost 10,000 in penalties, and we still have, as you'll see later, a little bit more, I think over 3,500 or so to collect still with that in penalties. And then we also have a significant amount of licensing revenue still to flow as well. So again, last year, at the end of the year, fiscal year 25, we ended up around 429 on the year. And I anticipate, based on where we're at,
Yeah.
that we will surpass that by significantly. So we'll see what we end up. It's gonna be past that by probably this one, 10 or 15,000, I would guess, by the time we get over. And again, I attribute that to the new requirements for reps to identify on the manufacturer distributor applications so that we know who we need to contact. The next reports are your detailed service bureau reports. This is going to show all of our cash investments beginning and end balance, starting in July of this fiscal year, all the way up to February, which is where we are now. This doesn't show the most recent deposit because we ran the report before they had it reflected in there. So it's a little bit behind, but this is the detailed view. And again, it also on this first page shows you that 1.5% special revenue deduction that BFA does off our revenue. So the bottom number is the actual revenue that we take into our account. And it's also going to show you the detailed view of expenditures up to present. And again, we are in February, about to go in March, so we have 4 months left on the year. For expenditures, we're not in any danger of any of this stuff. As you'll see, if you look at our operating expenses, going over appropriation. The bottom part of this monthly service bureau report is going to show you all the detailed expenditures on the year. That's your salaries, personal service matching. That's also your stipends and your travel reimbursements on the year. And also our operating expenditures, which are at the bottom, allocated out by the month there. And again, we haven't had any big purchases recently, other than we had our software licenses for ELP back in August, and then we had the new laptop for Alexis that I talked about last time, which is reflected in the December expenditures. And then the last two reports there are your revenue summary report by fund and your expenditure summary report by funds up to last week. That's kind of the macro view of where we're at in terms of revenue at this point. And again, this is the macro view after the revenue fees have been deducted. So this is actually the actual revenue after DFMA deducts their fees. And then the last report is your expenditure summary. And as you'll see on there, that number in yellow from the left column is our allotment. That's our appropriation for the year from the legislature. And you'll see if you go on over that we still have remaining amounts that, you know, we have plenty to get us through this fiscal year. So we're not going to have to worry about anything there in terms of our operating expenses, salaries, and all that. We generally do a good job of budgeting for that, where we don't have to worry about that again either. So we're all in line with where we need to be there. Your submission dashboard report. This is a report that Alexis puts together herself using our reporting metrics in ELP. So this is going to show you all of the application submissions in the system. And again, I appreciate that Alexis put a note down here at the bottom for all of you. Please note the numbers listed above only represent the initial submission. So the initial submission that someone submits in the system is reflected. If they do a resubmit, then which we have to do all the time for people, that doesn't show up in the submission count. It's not going to count it twice on the same license as a double submission. It just counts it one time. So this is the reflection of all the submissions we've had up to date on the year by license type. And also she's done the revenue fees there for you as well. And also if you go on to the over to the far right column, you can see all the ones that have been rejected and all the ones that have been approved so far. Closed simply means it's been closed out. If it's approved, that means that the license was approved. If it was rejected, that means we have to send it back to them for more information or something. And
But they're still listed.
but they're still listed. Yeah, they're still. And then denied are those select few that we have throughout the year that submit the wrong application, and then Alexis and I have to call them and say, you need to submit the correct application, we'll refund your license fee that you submitted for the wrong application. It happens from time to time. It wouldn't happen if people would just call us beforehand and we could tell them which one to submit. But sometimes we have people that are enterprising and they just get on there and submit what they think is the right application in the system. There's not much we can do to stop that if they create a profile. So that's how we handle that. But we've kind of narrowed that down. We usually don't have very high. And that is all of our financial and expenditure reports.
Looks like we're doing well, and thank you for this report. I do need approval.
I'll make a motion. Jimmy Jones.
Thank you, Jerry.
Michael White, second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the revenue and expenditure reports today. None, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Complete on this activity report.
Yes, ma'am. Am I recognized?
You are ready.
Okay, so, this is our monthly license activity report section. So you'll notice there are a few new things in here that I've had Alexis go ahead and start including for you guys. We're gonna start including all the document worksheets that we work up for all the manufacturers and distributors, because we don't generally do a license activity memo to DFNA for them that Mr. Joy sees, because they don't get dealer tags, obviously. So this is just to let you guys know how that's going. And you'll note the first one here for Textron, that was the old form. Alexis and I kind of put our heads together and decided, you know what? It's time to redesign this forms and worksheets. So when we turn the next page to these new Hertz, which are new lessor licenses that we've issued, you'll see the new form that Alexis designed with my approval. And I think it's gonna work a lot better. There's a lot more fillable sections for us, and it's gonna look a lot better for our purposes going forward. Plus, I can do electronic. So that makes it easier for them too. But you can thank the license for that. So
Thank you.
you turn the page to these new ones, you'll see the license number at the top right corner. These are lessor branch licenses, right, Alexis, for Hertz, new lessor branches for Hertz. One in Little Rock here, next one is in Bryant, 25 or 72514, and then we turn the page again, and you'll see at Parco National Lease branch location, and this one is at Rogers. So these are all lessor branch locations. And then their lessor affiliation is listed at the bottom. That's their primary lessor, like the main office for this specific lessor, because we have lessor primary, and then we have lessor branch licenses for all of those under our statute. The next page here is F4603, that is Hoco Turf Outdoor Equipment Sales and Service. This is out there in West Little Rock, the intersection of Highway 10 and the Ferndale Cutoff Road. And they are gonna be selling, at least at this point, it's just High Sun, right? Alexis High Sun UTVs. It's a nice little lawnmower and tractor that's out there on the corner of Highway 10 and out in West Little Rock. So we issued them a new license here recently, as of February 4th. The next one you will see in there is Tractor Supply Company, 2031. So all of the Tractor Supply stores have a unique number, right, Alexis, that they're gonna have for each of their stores. It's kind of their unique identifier for the store. And then obviously they're gonna have their license number that we issued them. In this case, it's 4604. And they have submitted another one within the last few days. Alexis, right, for, was it Benton? I think the Benton store that we're working on right now. So they're slowly working on getting these stores licensed. But this one, they were able to meet all of the requirements of Act 233 for this store in Greenwood. You'll notice at the bottom, and Alexis, I think, has added a new service provider section since you did this, right, Alexis, for this. But at the bottom, you'll see down there at the bottom, service providers listed. They've applied under Act 233. Now, this specific Tractor Supply is just going to be selling Champion Motorsports, which is the Coleman brand ATVs and power sports stuff at this point. They're not selling any other product at this location. But at the bottom, you will see service providers listed: Golf Cars of Fort Smith and Old Union Mall Small Engine Repair. So that's the two service providers. One's in Van Buren, one's in Fort Smith. One of those, Golf Cars of Fort Smith, is actually a license. It's a service for the provide service for this specific Tractor Supply. And both of those are within 40 miles of that Tractor Supply as required. And just to give you an example, we had two Tractor Supply stores that applied to Alexis that we had to send back to them to work on because they submitted service providers that were actually outside of 40 miles. So we are strictly adhering to that requirement for them. So this one, they were able to meet all the requirements, so we went ahead and issued that license under the new law. So this is their first official Act 233 in the system to sell ATVs. So the next one is Venom EV, and they're gonna be, at this point, manufacturing specifically LSVs, electric LSVs. Then they have a manufacturer license, and I believe they don't have any dealers yet, right, Alexis? But they're working on it. They issued them a new manufacturer license in the state, so they can start getting some independent dealers signed up. That's our last, new license report. When you turn the page, the next page you're gonna see, we're gonna start including these in the packet as well, so you guys can see who has been requesting off-premise sale and off-premise display requests. So the first one you have here, this is Mr. Ken Griffey's show for early January that we authorized for the Marine Expo at the State House Convention Center. We have these forms available on the website. Everybody that does this turns one in every time they get approved by the commission. And you'll see the next two are also Mr. Griffey's DI&G attractions. You have the Arkansas RV show, which that is, I believe, coming up, right, Michael?
Yes,
That's the,
we started setting up at 6:30 this morning.
yeah, thought so. That's this week. Michael will be
Just left there.
one of the dealers there. That's also at the State House Convention Center. And then also Mr. Griffey has the Hot Springs Boat Tackle and RV show that he does every year as an off-premise sale request in Garland County. And that's coming up at the end of the month into early March. So all of those have been authorized. He does this every year. He always does everything by the book like he's supposed to. And invites all the dealers that are supposed to be invited, and we'll always make sure that he has all the information he needs. The next one you'll see was the Big Buck Classic, which also Mr. Murchison authorizes every year. Now, he's the one that has a special event status, so his works a little bit differently than other people's, but he also has this every year. We authorized back in December, and he had to move his back a week because of ice storm this year, so that happened a little differently this year. But he was authorized, and then the most recent one we have in the packet here, which you'll see, is from Greason, who's a Polaris dealer in Hot Springs. And they're gonna be doing an event on the 28th, just on the 28th, for a display for, I believe, 2 UTVs, right, Alexis? That they wanted to take to this Baptist church in Hot Springs. And that is, 3 miles from their store, so obviously well within their market area. They're perfectly authorized to take some vehicles there. But again, they came to the commission and submitted the form and asked for permission to do it. So, and that last one you see there is the temporary permanent display, just for an example that we issue to anybody that requests that. We do the same thing for an off-premise sale, which says temporary off-premise sale permanent on the top is supposed to be this, but that's what it looks like. This Joy's signature and my signature on there. They have these displayed at those events, so.
Well, thank you for including this in the way it's done, but sometimes we all pass those and we're going, I wonder if they really, okay.
They are required to submit a request to us. If they will. Right. The next list, which I will let Alexis explain her color coding, but this is our renewals list for 25 and 26 for our dealers specifically. And I think the manufacturers are included at the end, which we have very few that haven't renewed it. But Alexis, you want to just kind of take the commissioners through this real quick?
I try to put it at the top for everybody in time, because somehow I always forget to tell you what it is. So all the ones that are white with black writing, those are active licenses, they apply to time, they would renew in a timely fashion. All the ones that are white with purple writing, they are active now, but they were renewed after February 1st, so they were issued like. The purple ones, they are expired and have not submitted. The blues are expired, but they've submitted at least once. The yellow are the rendering, and the orange are those licenses that are in our queue as of when I ran the report on the 13th. So we have a few in there now that may not be in.
as she's going through that, as you guys are looking at that, if anybody has any questions, just feel free to let us know. We're getting close to the end. We still have some mostly cycle dealers, Alexis, that we're still trying to get to renew. They will obviously have late fees. And you'll see when we get to the late fee invoice section here in a minute, that we have issued some new late fees since last time to dealers that applied in February. I think Alexis has already issued $3 50 invoices to some dealers that applied in February, so that's 1 month late, so they get 1 month of late fees.
We have for renewal, Speedway Sales, Lake Country RV, Jacoby Motors, Spirit Card. We have Live 3 Tiny Homes, Pop Card 413, Dribbling Equipment. We have a Texarkana tractor, which is River Valley tractor, and a Progressive tractor and employee.
Mostly RV and cycle dealers, maybe one specialty dealer. So,
A few new applications that you guys.
yes. And Alexis, you want to briefly go over the manufacturer distributor renewal list there, just to explain some of those that you included.
Most of, everyone on this list has been either contacted or we have attempted to contact them, and some of them haven't gotten a response, which means we're unable to send them a surrender if we think they're no longer in business. However, there's not very many of them, but we have, at least on the distributor list, VinFast has had their surrender agreement for a while, we just haven't received it back. Start Futures will be in the packet later for you guys. And the Berea and BMS Motorsports have been in contact with them a few times. OEI, I believe, is one I haven't been able to get in contact with. And most of the ones on the list for manufacturers, we just are having a hard time getting in contact.
And
Or
Alexis,
they've been in contact.
remind me, but I believe there were 2 or 3 on this list, Heartland, Dennis Eagle, maybe, that were subsumed, and we're gonna,
Believe the 3 of the ones on the manufacturers list are all bought out by another licensed manufacturer. Where Miss Margie has worked with them, and they're deciding if they're keeping their original license or if they're going to just put them all under one name because they're still working. And Michael probably would be familiar with some of those. There's a lot of
Hardman Cruise.
RV.
Consolidating and checking.
yeah. And our understanding from talking to her, Alexis, is that we think they can,
Yeah.
if they decide to surrender, they can pay us for those penalties, so we should be able to.
I think their biggest issue is they're trying to figure out for reporting stat surveys, because then all that's been flowing under JCO. So I think that's what they're trying to decide about.
But they are actively working.
And the next list is just our pending voluntary surrender agreements that we're working on, very small list at this point, we just have 8 on there, we're still working. That bottom list of the 24s, I feel like those are the ones that we're probably never gonna be able to find or get anything out of it. So we're gonna have to make a decision on those at some, obviously they have a inactive license at this point. But, I know for a fact that Morgan and Alexis have tried to find these people and have had no luck, so.
Typically with the lesser, I've spoken to multiple people with that, and we just can't get anything back.
So,
Also, that's, they keep going back and forth.
no, they told me when I talked to them that they were surrendering.
Okay.
So I'm holding to that. They just have to keep on it. Because they're, Cat's Eye, that's a good example for Marty to bring up. So they're not currently selling anything, period, anything that we license. So there is no reason for them to have a license. They're not very up there. But we just gotta get them to sign surrender, maybe something that, so. We'll see where that goes. We'll do that if you need it. Oh, okay. Oh, they are in your neck of the woods. He's a friend. Okay. Well, I don't think we'll need to, but Well, if we do, I'll let you know. And the last report here is the constituent invoices. So this is all of our late fee invoices for the year up to present. You'll see at the bottom there, we have issued some new ones in February. And those are 3 dealers, that applied in February, so 1 month late. And we still have, at least on this, at this point, $37.50 to collect in late fees from 6 different companies, and that list will increase because we obviously have a bunch of dealers still to apply. There will be issued late fees for February and March when they finally apply. There's several that I can think of off the top of my head. Yes, yeah, so there's several I can think of off the top of my head without even looking at the list that I know haven't applied yet. They're still operating, so this list will increase. We will have more late fees to add to this list, and we'll just see. Hopefully they all get one in before the end of the month, otherwise they're gonna have another month of late fees added on. So, but that concludes the license reports, Mr. Chilton.
Thank you, Lewis. So we're making it easier for us. Okay, the investigation summary report.
Yes, ma'am. So this is John and Margie's investigation summary reports that they submitted for you for this past month, and I'll just kind of let them briefly speak to anything that they want to highlight. And again, this works in conjunction with the consumer assistance reports with all the complaints that you see in the next section, because there may be some that they want to highlight that are in those. So
Yeah, you all just want to highlight those so he doesn't mark you up on things. For John, I don't get it.
Sure.
John,
Well,
okay,
the ones,
the
the ones that truly to stand out for me are is let's see. Here.
yeah, we're gonna address that. Yeah, and obviously John, Margie, the Gentry and the Bill White are gonna be addressed later.
Right.
So we.
Yes.
I think one thing I want to call attention to, and John Margie can speak to this. We have had an issue come up recently with Superior RV and Conway. That is a pretty serious issue that we're actually working. What number is that, John?
Where we found that?
I have 2026 form, so.
Yeah, so 26004 is Todd for Superior RV Sales. And we've actually had another one filed by Mr. Reynolds that next week against Superior RV. You will notice in the notes, the allegation is did not pay off previous loan to lender in both cases. Okay. So we're still in the middle of the investigation. John and Margie are actually going up to visit Mr. Block, Superior RV, today after the meeting to hand deliver some of the complaints to him. And also to Margie, the AG's office, which you.
Yes.
So we also had a meeting last week with the Attorney General's office, and we have some complaints from the Attorney General's office to also hand deliver to him that he has not responded to. And we're working with the Attorney General's office in conjunction on this to, basically simultaneous investigations. But essentially what we've learned at this point is, number one, these 2 complaints involve loans that were not paid off. Mr. Block sold RVs to these individuals and did not pay off their trade-in. And we've also learned that in both cases, he's written fraudulent checks to the bank. And in one case with Miss Todd, I remember talking to her about it. He also wrote her a hot check, right, Margie?
Correct.
And we've also determined that there have been similar issues with the AG's office complaints. There's similar issues identified in civil complaints that have been filed in court against him. And he has not renewed his license for this year, and Margie has determined that his bond and insurance have both expired. And he hasn't been very responsive at all to the Attorney General's office, is my understanding, and he hasn't been really responsive to our office either. So that's why we're doing some hand delivery complaints, and Margie and John are gonna go talk to him, see if we can figure out what's going on. But at this point, it seems like he's having some major issues with the business at the very least, and maybe some financial problems. But we're gonna get to the bottom of that. That's kind of where that's taking. Anything to add on that one, John, Margie? Where we're at, other than you guys are,
There's been criminal complaints also.
oh, yes, I forgot. He's also had criminal complaints filed with Conway PD against him over basically fraud. Payoff stuff. So some serious issues that we're looking into with that, and again, we're working with AG's office as well.
I'm really nervous.
Yeah, I'm kind of, that wouldn't surprise me. So that's why we're doing the site visit today, to see if John and Margie can figure out what's going on, but
I had, obviously, in my hometown, heard that inventory had been picked up, the new inventory had picked up. So I'm just surprised it was open. I haven't been out there.
just to give you an example, Mr. Reynolds that filed the complaint, last week, John and Margie talked to him, what was it, yesterday?
Yes.
And this has been going on for a year and a half with this payoff, and it was finally paid off last week, right?
After several.
Miss Todd, the payoff on that is what, 18 grand? It's still owed to the bank. And also, John and Margie were able to find out when they talked to Dutchman yesterday, that they had foreclosed on his. So obviously, there's some serious stuff going on, and we'll report back to you when we complete our investigation, but my guess is that we will probably have to refer this to the commission for a hearing at some point, because I don't see this going the other way, but we'll see. Maybe he can explain things to us, but we're gonna look more into that today. John and Margie are going up there today. I'll also call attention to this is from 2025, we previously touched on the Walmart in Batesville issue. John was able to, right, John, confirm that the units in question have been removed from the store.
Yeah, when I went there on February the 4th, they had removed everything other than the legal golf carts they had.
Yes.
So, sorry.
And John, also in conjunction with that, you also did a visit to Main Street Outlet that Mr. Holyfield brought up last time.
Yes, Main Street Outlet in Cave City. They were selling, some little ATVs and some go-karts, and I went in there and had a very nice conversation with the gentleman and talked to the owner on the phone, and they went out there and removed the little ATVs. They were 125 cc's. And they are in the process, if you will, and I don't know how far along they are, but they're toying with the idea of getting a license. Lady called me yesterday, wanting to know what kind of a bond that they needed and everything. So when I go back to Batesville next week, I will take a run through Cave City to check on it, see what their status is.
Yeah, we're obviously gonna follow up on that one. Margie, what number is Lone Star? Is it a 25? I think it is.
Yes, I believe so.
Late 25,
Yes.
I would,
non-family, 25. She'll find it in a minute. Because I do want to bring attention to that issue as well. Sure, looking into.
I'm so sorry. I should have been more prepared for that.
While Margie finds the number for you, I'll just go ahead and tell you, Lone Star Golf Carts in North Little Rock, Maumelle area is a licensed dealer. However, we've recently discovered that they've been selling Dosh, right, Alexis? Dosh electric
Yeah.
LSVs. So This company, we have, Alexis, I think, has sent how many emails to them and called them and whatnot about getting a distributor manufacturer license so that they can sell their products in the state properly.
We were over the back of the year here and fish contact us to add
160, 165.
Non-formal 25 and 160. You bet. Okay. We only had 204. 25 165 is the number. Yes, go ahead.
had multiple dealers reach out to us about seeing if they could sell Dosh, and usually I just send an email saying they're unlicensed, they don't like to be licensed as manufactured. They.
Very nice bid.
Very nice, they look great. However, if for maybe half a year there, we couldn't get in contact with anyone with Dosh. Then I was finally able to get in contact with someone, and if in my email chains with them, it's very clear that they're actively in the system, they're sending screenshots from the licensing, system, asking questions, however, they never submitted. I know that they were even in the system when we had a rep license, but nothing happened with that. Time passed, we hadn't heard anything from them, reached out occasionally, nothing was heard. And Lone Star was one of those companies that we discussed with, and we told them, hey, they don't have a license, you can sell their product. But Miss Margie has gone to visit them, they're right on the edge of North Little Rock by the Walmart on Mail. So they're right there, they're almost basically on Mail, but she's been out there a few times and has observed on multiple occasions Dosh products out on display.
Taking photos, we have documentation.
She has photos of it, she has asked them on numerous occasions to remove them. And I believe she even has photos of them removing them, and then on her next visit, they have to, so.
RG, do you want to touch on your conversation with the general manager?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking.
Yes, sir. Justin. He, I did go there and told him to remove the products. He and Trey, the guy there, one of the salesmen, went out to remove the Dosh products from the front of the building. And he contacted the owner, Zach, and told him, hey, in Florida, told him the Motor Vehicle Commission came on March 6th, and I've got her business card. And, we got to remove these products. And anyway, he sent him a text or contact him and said business as usual, put him back out in the lot.
So
Well, I don't as usual.
that's where we stand with that. Margie's been addressing it with them. But I'm just bringing it to your attention because I don't get the sense that they're going to comply with our informal requests, so we're gonna be addressing them in a more formal manner, a letter, and we may have Eric help us with that. But I get the sense, I haven't talked to him personally, but just based on conversations with Margie, just for context, this is a company that has, what, stores in 5 or 6 other states.
They said 19
Yeah,
stores.
so they got a lot of stores, and I just get the sense that they're just kind of like, yeah, just gonna do it. So, we've told them multiple times, Margie's been out there multiple times. And again, this is not the staff at the store's fault, they're just doing what they're told. I mean, I don't blame them at all, because they don't have any control. But we've told them, you get Dosh license, and you can put all of them out there you want, it's fine, you'll be the only dealer in the state, but Dosh refuses to get a license, so.
Dosh isn't a product that's almost sold at this one store of theirs, they
Yeah.
sell it at multiple
Yeah.
stores. So they very clearly have.
It's all over their website.
So it shouldn't be difficult for them to get in contact with someone and say, hey, why haven't you done?
So does Dosh doesn't have a manufacturer's license,
They have yet to apply.
so can we find
Sure.
for their products?
I mean, we potentially good.
They're aware that they need to do it.
They're very much aware.
Emails.
That's what I was establishing earlier.
based? Where's Dosh?
Maybe Florida.
They're a domestic company. Okay. But we're gonna address that in writing with them, and we'll see where it goes from there. But again, we've been over backwards to get this dealership and Dodge to comply, and so far, no luck. So we may have to escalate that as well. So we'll be reporting back to you on that, but I wanted to bring that to your attention because that is one that's percolating, and depending on the response we get from them, we'll go from there. But we are gonna send a formal letter. The other one I want to touch on with complaint wise before we move on to the next section is not actually listed yet, but it will be formal number 26008. I instructed Margie and John to put it on the formal list yesterday. We have had a long-standing complaint issue, advertising issue, education session with Sherwood Tractor, Mr. Bart Sherwood in Rosebud, and he has a store in Athens. He has 2 stores. Over his advertising specifically around CF Moto products. He is licensed to sell CF Moto products only at the Rosebud location. And the long-standing issue we've had with him, and we have addressed it with him informally. John and Margie have been to the store. They talked to him on the phone several times. We've had issues in the past. We've addressed it on formal nature with him to try to, and he has generally done what we asked, right, Margie, John, when y'all talked to him, but the issue is it keeps coming back up. And the main issue is he keeps advertising both in electronic format, online, Facebook, and sometimes on his website, but also the bigger issue is he keeps advertising on digital format, YouTube, and on television. There's some of the news stations and commercials that he's a CF Moto dealer at Rosebud and Atkins, which is not true. He cannot sell CF Motos at the Atkins store, but every advertising thing that he puts up seems to indicate that you can go to Atkins and buy CF Moto products, and you cannot. There's another CF Moto dealer in that area, that's their market area, and we've addressed this with him several times. So
you have written them form.
well, that's what I'm saying, non-formal, but we're escalating it to a formal,
Yeah.
and we are going to write him a formal letter. Thank you, and it's gonna be addressed formally, and we'll see how he responds, and I'm gonna ask Gary to help us on that one too, because it is kind of a nuanced issue with the advertising rule, but it's pretty clear that he can't do what he's doing, so we are gonna be addressing that through a formal complaint process with him, give him a chance to respond and correct it formally. We're gonna get a response formally in writing from him as to what he's doing and what he plans to do to correct it, and we'll go from there. But we have been more than fair to lean with him to try to get him to do what he needs to do, and he just keeps going back to the well of.
I give him a deadline, say.
Yes, we would, but that's not on the list, but it is, this is because it was printed before we added it. So
It's like, for instance, if there's another CF Moto dealer in an area where he has one of the stores, he's not even capable of getting a license to do them in that area.
Not unless the other dealer.
Franchise protection.
I'm surprised that other people didn't say something.
Well, they have.
Okay.
Okay. That's all I'll say about it. They brought it to our attention. That's how we know about it. But yes, we're gonna address it formally, and we'll go from there. He knows I will say, he's very much aware that he's not supposed to do that, so. And unless anybody has any other questions, we can move on to. Yes.
Touch on the smack over the motors.
Oh, yeah, we can, John, you can, we're still investigating that, but if you want to briefly touch on it, just your conversations with Mr. Langley, sure, yeah.
Well, I'll touch on.
That's a formal complaint.
The Tedder Equipment also, Tedder
Number
Equipment
2605.
had terminated their sales and service agreement with American Landmaster, who was bought out by Whisper Carts, Johnson City, Tennessee. Their dealer agreement expired. American Landmaster at first decided that they weren't gonna buy the inventory that it had left. So they filed a complaint, and after we sent the initial complaint to them, they changed their mind. decided that in the best interest of everybody, that they would repurchase all the 2024 units that he had and the parts, signs and all, and agreed to it. And so that's in the works, and that should be wrapped up pretty quick.
And you sent them a copy of the statute, so.
Yes, yeah, I sent them a copy of the 403 statute and after their consideration.
I wanna brag on John on this one because Mr. Tedder was, beside himself about this and he was just so frustrated. And I understand it because it was over $100,000 in this. He's trying to get them to buy back. So I understand why he was frustrated. And I think it was what, 6 or 7 different
It
units.
was 6 units, yes.
But the landmaster, now that they seem to have agreed to do what they were supposed to do, their original argument that they were trying to make didn't hold a lot of water with me. And so I'm glad they did the right thing, because if they didn't, we were gonna have to probably address it, because they were basically trying to make an argument that was limited at best, based on what the statute says. So, but they decided, I'm sure after consulting with their legal counsel, that it was in their best interest to just go ahead and resolve the issue. With that appears to be where we're headed. And we'll let you know when that's fully resolved, but John is helping Mr. Tedder and go through that process, and he was able to get that done. And the smack over thing, John, you just want to briefly touch on that? We're still in the process of that.
Yes, we smack over.
It's an important issue.
Mr. Jimmy Langley, who is part of the owner down there at Smackover, he's filed a complaint against Ford Motor Company over their FCP program, and forgive me, I can't recall off the top of my head what that acronym stands for, but it basically had to do with goals to sell electric vehicles. And there was a very large sum of money that Ford took back from him. And so, and he's not the only Ford dealer, I think, that's affected by this. There were several others in the state, however, they have not filed complaints as of yet. But we've sent the stuff to Ford, to see what their answer is. And it's sizable amount.
$51,000.
Yes.
Charge back.
So that's what they're charging him back. And he claims that, there were some inaccuracies in the incentive program, and has appealed it to whatever their particular board was, and they refused to hear it, so he felt like he had nowhere else to go but to us, so we're working on that. But that could potentially involve other dealers in the state, if they choose to file complaints.
Well, and it's, Smackover, that was a small town dealer, and that's, to Mr. Lane, that's a significant. So, we'll see where they're all. Yeah, we'll see where that goes, but that is on our radar, and we're working on it. Back on.
Did they charge you back because they said he hadn't complied with their rules?
Yes, but he has
That's
documentation that shows his incentives, so. That's that.
Thanks for making sure they're handling that, hopefully we get fixed, because there'll be more of the other dealers. Smaller dealers. Anybody else, any other, questions for legal? I mean, I guess what's next, legal?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll
Turn it over to Aaron for this next part, but it's good news.
Right, yes, ma'am.
We're looking at Arkansas Yamaha versus Yamaha Motor Corporation. It's there in the binder. The issue in this matter is there's an existing Yamaha dealer that was protesting the proposed move of a new Yamaha dealership within its relevant market area. Pursuant to the statute, this had to come before we had to set a hearing within 180 days of the initial protest, which is why it was set for today originally. We don't stay within that 180 days requirement. Well, last week we turned the page, or actually on this front page, I guess. Last week we heard from them. Both parties have signed an agreement to waive the 180-day hearing requirement and have requested to continue the hearing. I believe both parties have spoken to the office and they're fairly confident that they'll be able to work this out.
I can speak to that. Yeah, I've talked to Mr. Murphy directly, he's actually been in communication with Chad Moore, who's the owner of C2 Power Sports, which is the dealer that Yamaha wants to set up in Conway. And I have every confidence, just based on talking to Mr. Murphy, Greg County, that they're gonna help this out. And he's just trying to work through a few things in this process, and I think they'll work it out. The one thing I will say, and Aaron can touch on this, you'll see is it his email or is it in? Okay. Continue to the date agreed upon by the parties in the commission in terms of the continuance. That is the one thing I can say, Aaron, for the commissioners is, they can put that in the request, but I think it's up to the commission to decide, set here, date in the future to give them a benchmark. We've kind of dealt with this issue before, is, you know, I think we've kind of determined in the past that we don't want to kick the can too far down the road, because we don't want people to just keep dragging things out. So that's up to you guys, but that is one thing. It's up to you to decide. The date is continued to.
And where is Arkansas Yamaha located?
North of Rome. North of Rome.
And so the distance to the Conway stores.
21 point something. Yeah, okay. It's inside of the 25.
I see.
30. That is 30. Well, it's 25. It's an irrigation of the system. Sure. There's some nuances section.
So what is y'all's pleasure? Do we need to discuss this, give them time, or should wait and see? I don't know where you are.
I think the ask is to approve the continuance.
Okay, but they'll put a date on it by another 190 days or whatever.
And they, I will give them credit. Mr. Yatman, I'm sure is going to help draft this. He was legal counsel, outside counsel for Yamaha. But they did address it in the way that Aaron and I, that he wanted them to in the notice of hearing in terms of requesting, so that they waive the 180 days. Because that is important, because our statute does say we have to hold a full period. So they did waive their rights to the 180 day. Both parties did. So that's out the window, as long as we approve this. And then
So what we need to do is approve the continuance of the. There's, approve the continuance.
I think
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Approve the, okay. Entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the continuance of the 180 day.
I think we just approved the
Request.
continuance of the hearing. That's all you need to say.
second, I don't want.
Thank you. Is that all right, Scott? Sure. All right. Yep, it's been moved. Yeah. Seconded to approve the continuance of, because I got them all, whatever corporation. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, the other question I will have is, because we have options with this, because we know they're working on it, and I have every confidence they're gonna get this resolved. Do you want me to go back to them and ask them what are you comfortable with on a hearing date before we set one, or do y'all just want to set them for the future? We'll send back, because then Aaron and I can just send out a revised notice of hearing.
Probably that.
That's Sean.
I just.
Yeah.
Gotta set a date for it, so I got something to work. You have it done by.
Because that's simple, I mean, Aaron and I should revise the notice of hearing, but then we go.
Give them another 90 days sufficient, that's 3 months. Is that too much?
Surely not him.
That's fine with me as well. I mean, I don't think you want to 60 days, 52 for it. I think 90 days is probably.
9.
Because we have to have the 30-day notice requirement anyway, for the notice of hearing.
Okay, I'll see a nod, we'll be.
We'll wait that up.
I didn't think so. Yeah, approve that. Yes. Okay.
90 days.
90
Okay.
days.
You can do that.
All right.
You,
Thank you.
Mr. Oldfield, White River.
All right.
So I included, Miss Joy's already seen this, and this is publicly posted on our website for anybody to look at. But what you have here is the final order slash letter of reprimand that the commission authorized last time with respect to the findings of the hearing. You know, Mr. Holyfield at White River ATV. You will notice in there that the order was signed by Joy and I. This was sent out to Mr. Holyfield by email and by certified standard mail. He did sign for it, so we know he has it. And you also notice in there, as per your request of the letter of reprimand, 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions that you set on him. One of those was by February 20th, he's supposed to be basically in compliance of disposing of all existing inventory, new vehicles, and that's kind of the date we've given to him to be in full compliance. John went by there last week,
4th of February.
4th of February, and he still had some units out there at that point in time, but again, he has until February 20th, and John has it planned out to go up there the next week. So we will see next week. We will see next week if he is in compliance or not. I also have it in my notes on my desk that I put in here, you'll see after this order, I sent him an email with this order, and I invited him in my email to call me, and I also attached a copy of Rule 5 for him again. And I invited him to call me at his convenience to discuss Rule 5, because he had brought that up in the hearing about types of vehicles that he could sell without a license that are not required under Rule 5 that are exempt. I invited him to call me. As of today, he still hasn't called me, so I have it in notes on my desk. I'm gonna call him on Friday, see if he'll answer, to see if I can talk to him about that, just to, you know,
You've never done it.
to be nice. But he still hasn't called me, so
Friday's the 20th.
Friday is the 20th, and I'm gonna remind him that, you know,
I'll be going right by there on my way.
I'm sure.
And as of last week, they were still,
I
little.
know, and I, you know, we made it as clear for him as we possibly can. So again, I'm gonna try to call him on Friday and go through everything with him again. Let him know that he needs to be in compliance as of today. And that, I'm even gonna tell him that we're gonna send somebody up there next week to check on things. So, and that doesn't just involve us driving by. John's gonna go into the store, make sure he doesn't have any hiding inside somewhere. Because it is a furniture store, so there's lots of places he can put them. So anyways, that's where that's where that stands. So at the next meeting, we'll have a follow-up after action report from John on whether or not he complied with your order or not, and we'll go from there. But hopefully he does. But I don't know how much more clear we can make it.
I agree.
So,
And you heard it.
yeah, so that's where that stands. That's all of our Mr. Lord.
Thank you. We'll move on to the action discussion items. Number 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who's gonna take care of this one?
Okay, so we're starting out with, non-formal 26005, that's AMBC versus Gentry Chevrolet. Ms. Joy, and I believe Mr. Gentry is also here on the Zoom with us, so I'm sure you'll want to recognize him in a minute, let him kind of explain, what's going on here, but, essentially, you know, obviously, everybody here knows, just based on updates from the previous issue with Gentry, that they had a fire that damaged their facility severely. Alexis sent out the photos for you guys to look at that Margie took yesterday. We had to kind of work and get all of that into a folder to send to you guys, but they're also included in the packet for you to look at as well. But essentially, Mr. Gentry is applying for renewal. And we have some, I think, facility issues that we need to look at and assess. And, you know, obviously Aaron can explain the nuances of facility requirements. I will say Rule 4 is in the back that touches on all the facility requirements that all franchise dealers are expected to adhere to. And also I had Margie and Alexis put in 23-112-302 in there as well. I think it may be in the very back, right, Margie?
It is right behind,
Or is it, where did
it's
you,
right, did you say 302?
yeah, the one I had you put in there today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 302 is the statute section that touches on the statutorily required facility requirements and service area requirements that are actually in the license statute. So you have 302, and then in conjunction with that, you have Rule 4, which is on the facility requirements by rule to consider. And I will turn this over to Margie and John, because I think they kind of have their own presentation prepared for you, because they've been working hard on this, just to try to make sure we have all the facts and information together. They worked on this report, and they've also talked to Mr. Gentry in person on the phone, and they talked to some other folks as well. So Margie, John, I'll turn it over to you to kind of present to the commissioners, and then at that point, when they finish, I'm sure Mr. Gentry might want to, Mr. Roy might want to recognize him to speak as well. So
I went to the Queen to see Gentry Motors on 114. And I did visit with Mr. Gentry. When I went actually to the, car lot that had the accident, that, there was no one there. There was a camper and I knocked on the door and no one answered. But some people did drive up to look at vehicles. And I did ask them, do we know where anyone is? And he said, they're just down the street across from the Ford dealership at the trading post. And I said, okay, so, he said, you can't miss it, it's on Holland Ray Drive. And, so I did find the trading post. And I went there, Mr. Gentry met me outside and we did visit. And I asked him where he was doing his business. And he said he was operating outside the trading post. And, I asked him, how many employees did he have and what was his plan of action with this dealership? He said currently he has none, but he's waiting on the insurance to pay to where he can rebuild. And so when we discussed this, he told me that General Motors did tell him he cannot sell any new vehicles from that trading post. And there is a picture of the trading post, which is his used car dealership that I took. But, I asked if he had an active dealer agreement. He said he did, and they did sign. And I asked if it.
that's in the packet.
Yes, I asked if it had been executed by General Motors and he stated yes. And it is in the packet and it was executed, by all of them, by General Motors, him and the zone manager. I believe it was Miss Tamara Miller that signed off as well. And I asked if his insurance and bond was active and he stated yes, he did provide a copy, which is also in the
That you'll see that sales and service agreement with Chevrolet that Mr. Gentry signed, and that Ms. Miller signed, and Mr. Bell was signed toward the end of October 2025,
correct.
which is after he had the five.
But anyway, like I said, he and I visited for a little bit regarding, what he had planned to do. And he did state that he was, using the dealership in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. They were helping him with the pre-delivery inspection of PDIs. And
you and John talked to that dealership, correct?
correct.
John, do you want to?
Yes, Margie and I talked to Mr. Williams, the general manager there. J. Hodge Chevrolet here in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, about 25 miles to the west of DeQueen. And while they didn't have any agreements in writing, as a courtesy to Mr. Gentry, J. Hodge Chevrolet, doing pre-delivery inspections, any warranty work, any of the customers that need warranty work done, you're coming over there, and some of the other Chevrolet dealers in the area, I think Ashdown, Nashville,
Yes, correct.
Arkansas. And, that once they do the pre-delivery inspections, they take the cars back to Gentry Chevrolet for delivery. And, that Jay Hodge was simply doing this as a courtesy to Mr. Gentry because Mr. Gentry had helped them out in the past. And so it's a dealer to dealer courtesy that they're helping with his time being.
And also, you both have tried to reach out to General Motors, and I think you talked
Is that
to one
right?
person, but you haven't gotten, we want to
We talked to the previous zone manager, which was Tamara Miller. She's now moved to St. Louis. We reached out to Mr. Brian Burnett. Tried to call him twice, left voicemail, sent an email, and we have yet to have him return our phone calls or speak to us about any of the issues. And we talked to Mr. Gentry on a couple of occasions. And basically what Mr. Gentry has told us is that he's waiting on the insurance company to pay his claim. I asked him when we talked to him, I think it was Friday, if he had considered some temporary offices on location there. And his response was that he was also waiting on the insurance company to approve that. And as you'll see later, I had been Mr. White's new location the day before. And suggested a temporary fix to his problem until he can get the ship rebuilt.
But as it stands right now, Gentry is not authorized to do business at any location except the previous address, which is the current facility that's shut down due to fire. And he does still have inventory of the lot there, but that he's told us he's operating out of the trading post at this point. And we don't have any signed documents from General Motors authorizing him to conduct business from that location. He also doesn't have any service area facilities at that location. Or employees other than himself and his son and one part-time
Office.
office manager. So that's kind of where things stand from what we've been able to determine. Obviously, you can see the damage that was done to the dealership in the photos. Yeah. And at this point, the issue we have, the reason I'm bringing it to you is outside of our normal, obviously, issues with facilities. And as it stands right now, I don't think we have adequate facilities to line needs based on the information we have, but that's kind of, he has submitted an application for renewal. He has to resubmit it, but we have his original application in the packet. But the question for you, and I'll let Aaron kind of walk you through the statute and the rule in terms of what it says about facility requirements. But the question really for you is, we have this application. At this point, does Mr. Gentry Chevrolet meet our requirements as a franchise auto dealer for facilities? And there is some nuance in what the law says, but that's the facts that we have. But Aaron, do you kind of want to touch on that before we turn it over? Sure. To Mr. Gentry and let him kind of give us a slice of it.
So looking at the statute that deals with applications for licenses, it's ACA 23-112-302. Specifically, Part E states that an applicant for a license as a new motor vehicle dealer shall furnish satisfactory evidence that the applicant has three things. So the first one is that they maintain adequate space in the building or structure wherein the applicant's established business is conducted for the display of new motor vehicles, or will have the facilities within a reasonable time after receiving the license. The second requirement is that the applicant has or will have adequate facilities in the building or structure to perform repair and service work on motor vehicles, and adequate space for storage of new parts and accessories. And the final requirement is that the applicant will perform repair and warranty services on the motor vehicle at the licensed location. And so the question I think is going to be on this application is, does the proposed licensed location have those areas that's required by the statute, or will they have those areas within a reasonable amount of time? That's going to be the question for the commission.
Mr. Gentry? Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you like to speak with us now?
Yes. Excuse me, ma'am, that didn't come across clear.
Oh, I just said your name. Mr.
Oh, okay.
Gentry, so if you don't mind telling your side.
Yes, we had a fire on September 3rd. The building has been fenced off ever since that day, so nobody can get to it at all. General Motors, one of the requirements they had with us, they didn't want no new brought nowhere but where the sign's at. So and I told Miss Sexton on Friday that I had 12 new and no 25. Well, I have 11 new and 125 model left. And that, as she said, the dealership at Broken Bow, James Hodge, has been helping us a lot. Their service manager used to be our service manager probably a year or so ago, and so still got good relationships. And so either we run them over, he still lives in DeQueen, and a lot of times do that. We'll pick up customers' cars, take them over, he'll pick them up here. If they need to be hauled, we get a record to get them and hauled over to them, and they've kind of bent over backwards helping us. And the other dealerships has reached out, like I said, York Garrett, Nashville, Arkansas reached out and said anything they could do. So some of the people that lives Horatio Loxford, if they don't want to go to Broken Bow, we tell them to go there or go to Ashdown to Classic. Those are the three closest dealerships to us. So, our big deal is just trying to take care of customers, and, if they got warranty stuff and they can't take off, we take care of it. And as I said, I got me and my son, and our office manager works part-time now. And I have a mechanic, but he's not a GM certified mechanic. He was one of the guys that helped at the Chevrolet store that I still have on staff. And we have him in a shop back here behind the trading post. And so if it's something little, we can handle it right here. But if it's not, we send it mainly to Broken Bow. General Motors we've signed our agreements for 26 and stuff. Matter of fact, I've got a meeting with them in person today at 12:30. We do have a new zone manager that I've yet to meet, but him and Ty are supposed to be here at 12:30 today. They're making their rounds, introducing him to everybody. And besides that, we don't know when we're going to get possession, of the building. They gave us a combination. We can go in and get titles and stuff we've needed, but one of the engineers said that he don't know if it's safe enough for people to be in it. And so we don't try to go in it at all unless we just have to go get something. To me, the service area where you walked in is not hurt. It's mainly the shop. But the shop is real bad. And matter of fact, there's a truck on a lift that's holding up the building, in my opinion. And besides that, we just, try and do everything we can, take care of our customers until the insurance company decides what they're going to do. Of course, they're not wanting to pay. That's their big deal. So you won't see them for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they say, "Oh, we're going to be back up here investigating." Well, the guy told me, he said, every time they come back means they can put off paying you longer. And then so that's really about all I know. Like I said, the only problem Jim said with us, they wanted to, the new vehicles to stay out there with the sign.
The 25 big. Correct, Mr. Gentry?
Excuse me, ma'am?
The 2025 big you're talking about, is that correct? That were on the lot?
Yeah, I had 125 model. you know, I told you I thought they all was gone, but I checked when I got back and it was only 125 and the other 10 are 26s.
Okay, all right.
And we were still receiving new. We got one in, like I said, it was last Wednesday or Thursday. We got a new truck in. And our PDIs are done at Broken Bow. They run them over, we run them over, however, back and forth. And they, like I said, they've been a big help to us. And that's a good thing in the car business, when you helping each other instead of trying to run each other down. To me, when you run somebody down, you hurt everybody, not just one person.
So what is your plan to go forward with this? Do you have a plan, or are you just waiting on?
I don't really have a plan because the insurance company ain't told me, you know, what they're going to do. If they're going to rebuild it, then we're going to open back up and run it. But they've not gave us nothing, you know, kind of like I told you all the day, my policy has business interruption insurance and all that. And, you know, when I bought it in 16 or 17 from them, I didn't really want to put that in there. They said, oh, if there's something ever happens, you know, we'll bring in a big trailer and set you up and get you up and running. Well, now that it's time to do that, they don't want to do nothing.
Who is your insurance company, Mr. Jenkins?
Federation. Or yeah, Federation.
Federated?
Yeah, Federated, yes.
I'd like to ask you, you said that.
Excuse me?
I want to ask you, you said that you're shut down at the facility that burned, but you still receive vehicles for 2026. And General Motors is kind of dragging their feet, but they're dragging their feet while they're still selling new vehicles.
Yes, I mean, yeah, General Motors is not really drug their feet about everything. I mean, we've been still getting new vehicles this whole time. Like I said, the last new one we got in was either last Wednesday or last Thursday. And, you know, and everything we've asked for, they've helped. So they've not really.
You hadn't really got a problem with General Motors. It's your insurance.
No, I do not have a problem with General Motors. Their only deal is they wanted the new to stay out there on the lot with the sign, the General Motors sign is.
Yeah, because you can't put that in the trading post, where you should have those.
Mr. Gentry, has the insurance company made a determination that they're denying the claim, or is it still open?
The claim is still open. We sent them a bunch of stuff to their lawyer every other week or something. You know, they've got questions and we have to gather up stuff and get to them.
You said there was a fence with a lock on the gate. Is that something you did, something the insurance company did?
The insurance company did that the next day after the fire. And so there's nobody been in that building besides them and a few of us since then. I mean, there's a chain link fence. It ain't around the whole piece of property. It's just around mainly the building and a few, parking spots up front. But, the rest of the area is clear.
Mr. Gentry, have you had any contact with the insurance commission here in the state of Arkansas on trying to help you expedite this?
No, sir, I have not.
Is there anything in your policy that has a timeline for them to respond to you with an answer? Or is that open, sir?
That's what my lawyer had discussed with them, and the deal that we're getting from them, as long as the investigation is open and they're still investigating, they can prolong the deal. And I think that's why a company we hadn't saw him in 3 or 4 weeks, and I'd called Mr. Turner and asked him to find it. And I got, of course, an email the next day that stating they was going to be back on site doing some more investigation.
Mrs. Gentry, kind of looks like to me that if General Motors they're letting you receive vehicles. They know that you're working out of a trading post, and using other dealerships to help you with your business, which I think is a great thing. Looks like to me General Motors could, put some pressure on your insurance company or help you get you back in business. Yes.
Yes, I agree with that. And like I said, the new zone manager, I'm gonna get to meet him today in person. And then, of course, our
Yes.
regional guy, he comes by, once a month or sometimes once every 3 weeks, sometimes once every 5 or 6 weeks.
Have you considered putting a mobile home in front of your building to operate out of temporarily?
Yes, and that's what I talked to the agent that sold me the policy when it all happened. I said, hey, can y'all get us a trailer and all that? And they said yes. But of course, then now they've not done nothing that they said.
So this is how sure your license is it current?
So it is not, and that's our problem.
Well, but he applied and we
Well,
We could
because
approve it.
he doesn't meet all the things that you need to meet, that you meet, we can't do that until this is fixed. Whether he gets funding from the insurance company to keep this going, he really doesn't need to be in operation.
So that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
He's got an expired license.
Exactly, and he doesn't have all the things that the rules say that you need to have to operate.
Got an expired license, obviously the facility
Yeah,
doesn't meet our requirements. On top of that, which no fault of his own, and I appreciate their helping with it, but the dealer in Oklahoma, which we don't regulate at all,
no,
is responsible for doing all the service and PDI work on the vehicles.
that's, but it has to be,
Do we have an option as far as giving him a time frame to report back to the commission with
Well, he's selling new vehicles without a license.
see, we have to
That's
set that
the
down,
catch. It's,
can't do that.
Since Miss Sexton told me that they had to do some investigation on my license, I've not sold no new. I've not sold a new this month, and I really tried to because she told me that y'all had to do an investigation on it, and all the stuff that she asked for, I sent her my bonds, my insurance, and all that. And so I've not been trying to sell no new. I ain't sold one new in February at all.
Looks like to me, you're gonna have to get your facility back in order and then apply for a license. We will keep into that.
That is correct.
The issue, good, but the issue is GM is not authorized to operate at another.
Sorry.
They have not authorized him to operate at the trading post.
Yeah.
But he can't sell his used.
And if he doesn't maintain a current license, does that not put him in violation of his dealer?
Yes,
Because his dealer
it does.
manufacturer agreement.
It does.
GM can pull it. Is that?
Yeah, we might need to die to figure it out. That's that.
Mr. Gentry, what's your feelings with your insurance agent, or the home office? Are they receptive at all for moving forward and getting you back in business?
I mean, they're accepting, they listen to anything, but they're just not, to me, that's why the lawyer got involved, is trying to get them to, pay the claim and get it all going and stuff. But, it's a big claim, so they just keep dragging their feet.
Have they told you why they're dragging their feet?
No, sir. They just said that it's still under investigation is the answer they give.
Unfortunately, as much as all of us want to help,
I know.
there's nothing.
There's nothing we can do.
From our perspective, there's nothing we can do here.
Busy. Mr. Jeffrey, do you have a separate license for your used car lot?
Yes, sir.
And it's all current.
That's.
Yes, sir.
That's not us.
Oh, that's it.
That's like was. Well, all we can say is. If that doesn't happen soon with your insurance. And there's nothing we can
So
do
what-
to give you a
What would be
license.
the minimum facilities that you would have to apply to that physical lot, the shared lot? You have to give him a mobile office out there.
Yeah, it's all these things we name.
Yeah, some form of part storage,
Right,
which would literally be a contents.
the three things.
And could, I mean, would a portable shed qualify as a service department? What?
I think it's 120.
Yeah, it has to be a.
It'd be big, big enough to be.
I mean, I'm just thinking from my perspective, if I'm a dealer in this, I don't wanna lose my GM franchise. I think I'd go out and figure out what I had to do, the absolute minimum to get it back on that piece of property where I'm legal, keep that dealer license active. And then figure out how I'm gonna deal with the insurance company. But that's,
But he's still gotta get GM's approval
That's
on
right.
whatever he does. That's the kicker.
pretty well done.
Yeah, they are. Our hands are tied on this. Really, otherwise,
If they agree, give them something big about, have a broken road, ash down, neck press, something like.
At least I'm selling, they're just doing something.
yeah, they're just doing warranty.
There's no
There's no
There's
selling.
no agreement in writing for the building.
Or we-
That's just, they're just doing that out of good.
Mr. Gentry,
Yes,
could you go ahead and do the minimum to meet the requirements that the Motor Vehicle Commission has to operate, and then at your own expense, and then fight that out with the insurance company?
so I will have to have a trailer, a service department on site,
And parts,
and parts. The parts room is still perfect, like nothing touched. All the parts are all still there and all. I mean, that's where one of the firewall was when we built it. So, I mean, it's all perfect. We're just afraid that in that building, it's not safe for people to be in it. And so we've not, because we first thought about we could just go back there and board up the back and open the front up. But, the engineer that the insurance company had here, he's been the only one that's kind of tried to help with everything. And he said, you don't need to do that. He said, I don't think this building's gonna be safe, but he said, I'm not the last call to say that. And he's one of the guys that's, helped us, and they were supposed to send us our computers and stuff back and our mainframe. And, of course they didn't, and got a hold of him, and he basically, he drove it down here and delivered it to us.
This year,
So, I mean, the deal would be, if I've got to have a service department on site, that's gonna be tough.
if you comply with our rules, there are no things we can help you with, Mr. Gentry. And you cannot sell vehicles.
So what was our motion?
It's the vote, I mean, we have his application, he hasn't resubmitted
Right.
it formally, but we have the original. I mean, it's basically whether you approve or deny.
So I think at this point we have to.
Yeah.
Especially if we want to help, we don't have any choices.
Right, we don't. And it's
So
been
we
denied.
make a motion with that effect? Make a motion that we deny the application based on the fact that it does not meet the facility requirements. for the state.
Been moved and seconded, we deny Mr. Gentry's, application due to all the rules and regulations. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So at this point, with the application being denied, the option that Mr. Gentry has is to reapply for another license with a facility that meets the requirements of Rule 4, which is what Mr. Gentry was talking about, bringing in the trailer, having the service department. I think the signage is already there. There are basically four requirements under Rule 4. But he would have to meet those requirements in order to get a license approved by the commission of this.
He's in a tough spot.
Yeah, I agree. All right, anything else?
Will y'all send me a copy of all that out in writing, what I need to do, please?
We will.
We'll be glad to do that.
I'm sorry for your loss, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. We have another one.
And Mr. White and Mr. Justice, they're also on the Zoom.
Okay,
Ms. Joy.
all right.
So, Bill White Ford, previously located in Boonville, and licensed by us, is relocating to Mansfield, which I didn't know where that was. I had to look up, but John has conducted a visit to the location and spoken with Mr. White and Mr. Justice, who are also on the Zoom today, to answer any questions from you guys. In this instance, just based on what John has found in my conversations with Mr. White and Mr. Justice, obviously, number one, as you'll see in the packet, they have approval from Ford to relocate to this location. And I'll let John go through this because he's actually been there. But my understanding from Mr. White, and again, I'm sure he'll go into more detail, is this was an old Walmart Express building that was built in the last 10 years. Obviously, they're in the process of remodeling it to get up to Ford specifications. But they have a fully functioning service area on site, which you see photos of. They also have a fully functioning service and detail car wash area. And they have a fully functioning modular building that they had delivered as their office to operate out of. And I'll let John speak to all that, who's actually been there. But my assessment, just based on looking at everything, the fact that Ford has signed off on it, is that they are going to be able to meet our facility requirements for a license. And again, this would be a new license, and they have submitted a new auto franchise application. And there's a copy of it in here as well, because he's moving from Boonville to Mansfield. So you're moving counties. So he's moving to the next county over. Under our statute, anytime you move your dealership, relocate to a new county, you have to get a new license. So they have to surrender the old license and get a new license in the new county. And that's what's before you today is their application for a new license at the new location. We have all of the facility site visit photos from John, and all of that information that they provided, including some detailed plans I think he provided for the remodel. And I'll let him speak to that in a minute. But John, do you want to kind of go through your visit?
Sure. Last Thursday, I went down to Mansfield, which is about 20 miles south of Fort Smith. Met with Mr. Bill White, and he gave me a tour of his new facility there, the temporary facilities. They have a temporary building that had been delivered on site. It was up and running. It was 24 by 56, about 1,300 change square feet. It had 6 offices in it. It had 2 restrooms, large common area, as you can see in the photos. Enough to accommodate files, customers, financial people, Mr. White and Mr. Justice. And the building had all utilities hooked up to it. It was permanently anchored to the ground. Outside that temporary facility, you can see by the photos of the old building there that will be renovated to the Ford specifications according to Mr. White. There was a large detail wash bay that was outside of temporary facilities that's under construction this point will be completed soon. Directly adjacent to the building that will be renovated, it is a parts and service area that has 4 bays. It has restroom facilities of its own, atomic waiting area for customers. And this will be used as his sales, or excuse me, as his service and parts building. Mr. White stated that it could be up to 18 months until the building is completely renovated, depending on weather and other factors. And he was able to provide some plans of what the building will look like. And the temporary letter from Ford. So it appeared to me that everything that Rule 4 requires that at this particular time, he is in compliance with. And will be in compliance until his new facility is renovated and complete.
John, correct me if I'm wrong, trying to find it in the packet, but I believe the letter, authorization letter from Ford had some timelines on it as well.
Yes, I think it's up towards the front here.
Is it July?
I believe Margie is correct.
It's the last page, the agreement.
Yeah, it's supposed to be completed, and necessary government licenses by July 31st, 2028.
Well, I believe that's the date for completion of, for approval of the facilities.
Yes.
Yeah, they'd be completed and occupied by then. The licensure needs to be completed on or before February 28, 2026.
Yes.
It's on the front page 2, John, is the owner before July 31st.
That's Ford's requirement.
Yeah.
Must be completed on,
For the relocation.
And you said everything that they've gotten out that they're using as temporary is in compliance with our Rule 4.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's, he's saying everything's good. So what he needs to do is surrender the license where he is and apply for a new license, obviously February 28th.
And they have a,
And they have.
yeah, it's in the packet. His application is in the packet for the new location. As of last Friday, I believe, when they applied.
Okay.
And Mr. White and Mr. Justice, who is his general manager, are on the call. If anybody has any questions for them, or if you want to let him briefly.
But you all listen, hear them? Mr. White,
Yes,
do you wanna visit with us about this?
yeah.
Go right ahead.
All right, well, we're moving from Boonville and going to Mansfield, Ford like the Mansfield location. And it's a Walmart building that's approximately 10 years old and it's in really good shape. And I hope to have a set of plans within a few months completed and hopefully start construction by the 1st of next year.
Right. Very good.
And just to be clear, for everyone, obviously Ford does their homework, but we do too. This location is outside of the required 10-mile radius of relocation from the nearest Ford dealer, so there's no issue there.
It's still within their area of responsibility.
Yeah, and
Yes,
there's
it's
no
outside.
problem with this 30-mile person.
Well, in the case of auto dealers, it's 20 miles,
Oh,
but
20.
in a relocation of an existing dealer, it's 10 miles, as long as they're outside of 10 miles.
I got you.
Yeah. So, and this one is, what is it, the Lexus 17, 18 direct miles of Randall, it's not Kansas. So Randall.
We got it.
So we're well outside, there's no issue.
Okay.
Or do you all need a motion? Or do we just?
Or we just listen, what do we do?
If you have any questions for them, that's fine, but I mean, the motion would be again, to either approve or deny the new license application at the new location, as long as you feel like it complies with. I'm telling you as the director,
Yeah.
John, that I think they've met
I think
all
so.
the qualifications
I think
at
so.
this point, and they have a clear plan going forward for the renovation of the facility. My discussion with Mr. White indicated that really the indoor remodel is just more of a remodel. The only structural demolition, I think he said, was the front to comply with Ford requirements. They're gonna have to redo the whole front of the building. So that's the major thing. The rest of it is just renovations and remodeling inside. But I think that once it's done, it'll be a state-of-the-art facility. It's a nice building, so.
Scott Wood, I move that we approve the new license application.
Michael Johnson, second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the new license application for Jim Crown for Mr. White. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. White. Mr.
Thank you,
Justice,
Bob.
we'll get that approved for you guys in the system as soon as we can, okay?
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it, guys. And how long will it be before we could actually move?
As soon as your license is approved, you can move to the new location. It's fast. That's up to you. As soon as
So,
we do need you to get us once we approve the new license, we do need you to get us the surrender for the old location as soon as you can.
is it something that we have to have a statement from you guys to take to the finance department?
DFA.
Are you talking about with respect to franchise tags?
Yeah, well, no, to get our new tags.
Yeah, so anytime we issue a new license, Mr. White, Alexis sends out a memo to DFNA that a new license has been issued. And that goes into their database, so you'll be in the database, and then that's how you get your tags, but it's with the admin office in Little Rock. So if you have an issue with your local office there, just have to call the admin office or call us, and we can give you the phone number for the admin office. But yes, we update that information with admin office here in Little Rock at DFNA.
Well, so we're gonna go try to do that today. Is that possible?
Well, we'll try to get your license approved today, yes, and Alexis can probably get that memo sent over to them today, but I don't know how fast they update their system, so, that, once we turn that over to them, that's kind of up to them at that point. We don't control the franchise tags.
Okay,
So we can do our part, but I can't guarantee you that, everything
Yeah.
I'm bringing will be up and running by today.
I just hopeful thinking, All right, hey, I appreciate it,
Thank you.
really. Thank you. See you.
Okay, our next action item is C. Review the voluntary license surrender agreement request for late fee.
So we have two things here. The first is a voluntary license surrender that's been duly executed by Mr. Michael Hillman, compliance manager with Start Future USA. They have an expired distributor license with us. So we have that for you guys to look at and approve. We also have on the back of that, a email request from Mr. Hillman to waive late fees for his license, because basically what we have here is, and I'm gonna let Alexis speak to this, because he has been dealing with this issue for a long time with Mr. Hillman and Start Future. They haven't had any active dealers in several years, and they haven't renewed their license in several years, essentially. So there is a significant amount, and I'll let Alexis speak to the actual amount of late fees and license fees that are due on this old license, which they never renewed. My understanding is, and they haven't submitted a new application yet, but we have provided them information, is that they want to surrender the old license, get a new license, a new distributor license to do business, so that they can then start setting up dealers again. And with that, I'll turn it over to Alexis to kind of provide some context. Alexis.
So about a year and a month ago, after a commission meeting, during lunch, I believe it was, we got a phone call from the manager with Star Futures. He called us, he spoke to Margie first, she asked him to, give her this information, and then I would call him back because I was away at lunch. I believe he called back maybe not even 3 minutes later, but I really need to talk to someone. So I then did go ahead and talk to him on the phone, and I let him know that I was away from my desk. And I was off site, and so I would have to email him when I got back. Once I returned to the office, I sent him an initial email that day. This was following the January 2025 commission. I sent him an initial email that day, just make sure I contacted him by phone again. And then the next week, I sent him all the information for renewal, and I informed him that he was already, since it was January, 6 months behind on his renewal, and he needed to pay late fees. And I also let him know that since he had a new, that rep would need a new license and would not have to pay late fees because they were getting. However, he did not submit anything, we did not receive anything on behalf of the rep or of the company. A couple of months later, he contacted us again, because he wanted to add a dealer. Well, actually, go back to January, the reason he called is because the rep wanted to come to Arkansas to find dealers. And they were just looking at everything, and was like, wait, nobody has a license, so you probably should get a license before I send you down there. So we thought it was urgent, and that's why he was calling, because they wanted to send someone down within 3 days. And so we thought, okay, this will get handled. We never received anything. A couple months later, he called, we still never received anything. We let him know that renewals were coming up again, and every time he's called, we let him know, hey, you're this many months behind. It's been 3 months, you're an additional 3 months here, you're an additional 3 months there. Did receive the 2025 renewal email, the 2024 renewal email, the 2025 renewal email, which would have been sent in June of last year. He got that email, and we spoke to him in June and in July regarding him renewing his license, saying that he owed late fees for the whole year, and that he was gonna have to renew for the year we're in 2025. We did not receive a renewal from him at that point. I believe it was in October, we spoke to him again, didn't hear anything back. And now here we are again, and as of January of this year, he reached out because they had a dealer that they wanted to sign up. That dealer actually sent in, added them to their renewal this year, and we were like, oh, that company doesn't have a license, and so the dealer reached out to Star Futures, which caused them to call us again and go, hey, we never renewed this, what do we need to do? So I spoke to him, and I referred with Daniel just to see like what his options were, because at that point, we were 18 months behind, meaning we were at about $1,800 worth of late fees. And then he had the 2020 renewal fees, which is I'm saying $900 per statute, and the 2025 renewal fee, also another $900. We let him know of that, and he was concerned about the amount of late fees, so that's what you.
Yeah, that's not, the late fees, did you mean to say 8,100?
Where is it?
8,800.
I meant, it's $8,100 is what it was in January. Yeah, no, my apologies. That's a lot of money. I don't think we've ever charged anybody that. No, and so as of this month, because we asked him when he sent in his request, I believe my email is in there as well, to go ahead and submit for either a new license or to go ahead and try to renew his old license. Neither submission was made, so we're now in February, and on the license that has not been surrendered yet, or the surrender has not been approved, That's $8,550 in late fee and $1,800 in renewal fees via the statute, not what it would actually cost.
And, I also, I don't remember what day it was last year, but I have spoken to Mr. Holmes one time. And at that time, he wanted to discuss all the late fees and whatnot, and I just basically told him, well, look, let's get your license renewed first, and then we can discuss the late fees, and of course, he never followed through on it. So,
Total for renewal fees for both years and late fees, it's $10,350.
so in essence, what we have, and again, remember on the late fees, it's 50% of the license fee in the statute for every month. Late. Well, that's why it adds up, especially for the distributor manufacturers really fast. Because remember, their statutory license fee is $900. So essentially what we have is someone who wants to get into business again in Arkansas, has a dealer that's interested in selling their product, and this is motorcycles, right? It's our future motorcycles. The dealer is an active dealer. And they say they haven't had any active dealers in the last 2 years. I think that's true. I think we've kind of determined that's probably true. But they haven't renewed their license in that time frame. So they have a significant amount of late fees. So the question for you is, obviously, it's a two-part question. Number one is, do you want to approve the voluntary surrender agreement for the old license? And number two, what do you think about their request for, so it's a two-part, their request for waiver of late fees. And again, we have precedent in the past for the commission to be magnanimous and knock down the amount, something like that. I don't necessarily have an issue with that here because it's such a higher amount. I mean, we want to encourage them to get licensed and do business, but at the same time, because of the length of time, I don't think we can just let them off. That's my thought, but I'll leave that to you, as the commission to decide. And there is discretion in the statute to allow you to kind of waive or.
Well, first of all, let's work on the voluntary license surrender. So, let's do that first.
Make a motion to accept the voluntary license.
Second one.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the voluntary license surrender from Stark Future USA LLC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Now,
What was the dollar amount?
$8,000.
Late fees only, $8,550. That's for 19 months away.
And then if he paid the renewal thing, it'd be.
Which is not gonna be
Just not gonna
an
be
issue because
an
it's
issue.
given.
Right.
So really just the way.
I don't know how many times you're gonna warn somebody.
We also say that's really,
I agree, it shouldn't be off, Scott.
The first
Yeah.
time he
No.
contacted us, it was 6 months after the fact,
you know, I mean, he's gonna have to pay something.
which would have been 2,700.
I can't even handy up. Hey,
One thing, I got something, if we do this for him.
You know, we're into.
We've done it before. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm saying that's.
And not,
Whatever
I
we
think
do,
this
we
is not
expect-
as a high number.
Yeah.
So whether we do that by half.
it's 2026.
Yeah. But then
No
that's
problem, you can use a
20.
little break,
So
not much, as long as it's going on.
6 month late fee would be $2,700, and then the cost of if he had renewed on time for both years would have been $1,800.
So what?
Well, now what's the difference? Had he been in compliance, we're only looking at the,
It would have been 1,800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot that it didn't.
Mr. Director, what we do here, are we gonna, I know we already talked about setting precedents for you with it. But would it be fair to to ask you what you recommend?
Sure, I mean, I think what Alexis is suggesting is fair. Honestly, because again, the renewal fees that he missed out on, that's $1,800. And then, what did you say?
6 months.
6 months worth.
Which would be 4,500, is that correct? Yeah, those two together, which is roughly half of what total late fees.
Yeah.
And then plus the renewal.
Yeah. Plus you have to pay your renewal.
He basically-
Not renew.
The new license.
The new license.
Yeah, new license. So, I mean.
Well, Chairman, you need a motion for that?
I do.
I make the motion that we go by Alexis recommendation as far as amounts you for
41,000
that,
in late fees. That's how.
In late fees.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll
that's
second
Jimmy
that.
Jones.
And I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve 4,500 in late fees. Really, we didn't say anything. We're not giving a break on them, so all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign.
So I do have
Carries.
one question. He applies for a new license, in a different LLC or a different corporation's name, and doesn't pay those late fees, would you be able to get that new license?
Yeah, it's late fees first.
That's what I'm saying, can we hold speech to fire and have late fees prior to issuing a new license? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we can, because the way it works in the system, we send an invoice on their profile.
Okay.
So it just sits there, and if he doesn't pay it, then we can just not issue the license until he pays it. Yeah.
That was my question.
As a requirement. So,
And to ensure that, what we could do is revoke the license on the current profile, send the invoice, and you can use that same profile for a brand new license, that will issue a completely new license on the register. That way it's all together, you can see it all.
yeah, they can keep the same profile. I've submitted an
And
application.
then what if we give him a time frame on
We usually,
paying these late fees to get this break?
we usually do 30 days. So, that's all the,
Everybody good with that? All right, we're going on to the Arkansas, South Arkansas College review, read the request for them for their remaining funds. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, ma'am. This is from Miss Linda LaFew. She's the administrator down there at South Ark. Wonderful lady. This, I will have to apologize to you guys for. She sent this to me back in December, and if you remember, that's when I was out with my wife's health issue. And I just completely forgot about this email last meeting. So I already called and apologized to her and told her we would make sure we address this in this meeting. But essentially, remember, they came to us when, was it October or was it September? One of the previous meetings, we approved for them to purchase use their remaining funds to purchase an exhaust system. And so Linda said they went to their accounting and administrative folks, and they couldn't get that signed off when it came down to it, because it was too expensive, I guess. They would cover the overhead, because the amount that they had remaining wasn't enough to cover the whole thing, and they wouldn't sign off for additional funds from elsewhere to cover the rest of it. So then she had to come back with us with an additional request to use the remaining funds they have, that they saved, that we've already awarded to them, to reallocate them to purchase these laptops and desktops that they're known here. And they even have the quote included. And I even included she put this on their accounting report that you guys approved last time, and I just totally forgot to even draw attention to it. But she actually put the request in her accounting report as well. So she's got it all fully covered there, and it's just basically up to you guys to approve their request to reallocate these remaining funds that they have, that we've already awarded to them. Do this specific request for the laptops and the desktops.
I make a motion that we approve the funding for the laptops and desktops.
Scott Wood second.
Moved and seconded, that we approve the reallocation of the money funds for laptop CEOs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Excellent. She'll be very happy to do that.
For one more, whatever you call it.
Yeah, we got one before that.
Oh, the director's recommendation, we need to vote on that. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. This is the packet that's in your,
Oh, I see it. Sorry.
the packet that's in your packet is last year's packet.
Right.
So basically, we just need to decide on, this is our grant program for FY 2026. We do this every year. You just need you guys to decide on what you want the final deadline to be. And then I made a recommendation that we add some language to the packet itself, which Alexis and I can easily do this, regarding specifically with respect to the reporting guidelines and the accounting report, to require a detailed financial statement from each organization with their accounting report. Because what I found after doing this for 2 years, and you guys have seen it, sometimes we have people that are reluctant or don't provide, I feel like, enough information on their accounting, for their itemization, for all of these funds we're sending them. And I put an example in there that I think is a great example for you to look at. That Arkansas Tech Ozark submitted this last accounting report, detailed financial statement, kind of what that generally looks like. That I feel like we would not be overstepping our bounds after the all of these folks should be able to produce a spreadsheet or something.
Talked about that last meeting.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I remember that, and I was like, you know what, I think this is something we should probably consider.
Yeah,
Putting in there.
covers us, covers them. I think that's good.
So, and that's very simple language to insert into the actual.
And then give them if you want to.
Mhm.
A template, like, here's how you do this.
Yeah,
They can't, I'm sure they can, in their problems.
yeah. So that's the two things to consider is the deadlines and, we've highlighted the accounting report deadlines last year, so it would be similar deadlines for that this year. Like this one.
It second Sunday of September and the second Sunday of January.
For the accounting.
For the term report, we would make it September 13th and January 10th. And if we do the deadline on it, the same as the last Monday of March, that would be March 30th.
Because we generally open this up at the end of February and get them roughly a month to submit the applications to us. So we post it on the website.
And a school that wants to apply just needs to contact the motor vehicle commission and they'll give it an application.
Yep, we'll send it to them directly. We already have a bunch of schools on our internal list, but yeah, anybody that's interested, they just got to contact us and we'll send them.
I've got a couple in my area that I've talked to before.
Mhm.
I want to
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, we had, again, remember last year, we had 4 new schools that hadn't gotten funding from us before that applied, so. We always want new people to apply, so anybody that you guys have in your area. Feel free to let them know to contact us and we send it to them, Alexis will send them application.
I'll need a motion to approve these two items.
Michael Johnson, motion to approve. Michael White, second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the deadline and the recommendation. Add a detailed financial statement to your rate reporting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That gets us to the last thing that I included in here, and this is more of just based off of something we kind of discussed last time that I think Scott brought it up last time. But this is something that Stellantis Fiat sent to us, what was it, a week or two ago, Alexis? That they're wanting to add to their license as a product that they carry, that they're gonna be distributing through their Fiat dealers. And this is an LSV. And I just wanted to bring this to your attention. And it has a conversion kit on it. But this is a product that we would license as an LSV and just like the other LSV. but my understanding is this is to compete with the other LSV manufacturers out there, so. Fiat is the first one to send this to us, but I would anticipate that we will have other manufacturers that are also trying to get into this space and will probably be submitting similar type products for us to add to their license. And I just wanted to include all that information in there for you guys, just to have a good idea of what we're dealing with, but also they have the, certificate of origin here too for these. But I think these are kind of a big thing in Europe already, and I can see this being something that some of these manufacturers, besides Fiat, some other folks bringing over to as a alternative to some of these other LSV manufacturers. So I don't know, Scott maybe is selling these soon. I have no idea.
We're not Fiat.
No, but some of, but what are your?
Yeah, there are several glass dealers that are.
But as you'll see on there, they have a LSV conversion kit that they basically send along with it to allow dealers to set them up as licensable LSVs. So I anticipate we'll see more of this.
So we need to approve this or?
No, it's just information for your information.
That's
Some kind
fine.
It's kind of pre-warning, just to kind of give you an idea.
And then we'll have to deal with it.
There will be, I'm sure. but-
And I will say, the final thing I will say before I'll let you have the final word, Mr. Wade, is, I wanted to, well, I got you all here. So the Walmart issue, they did what we requested, with those, e-bikes and mini bikes. However, the secretary and chief of staff, when we passed along that, there may be some interest, nothing firm yet, but there may be some interest on Walmart's part and other folks' part with respect to what it says in Rule 5 about the 16 mph threshold on the mini bikes and scooters and that sort of thing. There may be some interest in changing that rule somewhat to move it up to 20 mph. Again, I don't have anything firm yet, but that may be something that comes up. I just want to put that on the radar. And my understanding is it would just be for that specific section with scooters and the mini bikes, where it talks about two-wheeled motorized vehicles on the mile.
So we're talking about an e-bike also?
E-bikes.
My e-bike will go over 20.
My understanding is there are class 1, class 2, and then the class 3s, I think, are the ones that go over 20 mph. And then some can go 30 mph. So obviously those would not be exempt, but there may be some interest from Walmart and other folks in Canada to.
Never got it.
Would the legislature can change that rule?
They would have to approve. It would be something that maybe we have to consider first, because it's on you, so. Again, I don't have anything.
It's something that we might recommend to the legislature.
Yes,
If they change the rule to 16.20.
yes, it's a specific section. It's not the entire, it would just be. Yeah.
Just be changing that MPA's part.
Mhm. So, just want to bring that to your attention so that you're not blindsided by that later if that comes up for consideration.
Okay, we have maybe March 8th on, maybe April 15th. So what do you think?
Put that on there. I'll just say generally we do the January, February meeting, and in March, we kind of are dealing with the grant
Yeah, 'cause they're-
program,
Right. And we-
trying to finish renewals, and
people
we got, obviously, you've seen a bunch of investigations that we're working on too.
Right, so that, if it's all right with you all.
I'll request on behalf of my staff, unless there's a pressing
Is
issue.
that okay
You all
with you all?
deal with, we can,
Wait
you know,
till April.
wait till April to have the next meeting, but okay.
The 15th.
I like that.
Okay.
Take them on.
You do it on the 15th, that's gonna be my birthday.
April 15th?
Yeah, get another batch of cookies. over.
April 15th, well, all the more reason to.
Tax day, then.
Yeah.
It says- I'll do my first, because we're formless.
Good old rule, I'm gonna be in the middle of like Washington,
Oh, yeah.
I'll try to make it back.
You gotta turn.
I take one day out of the week. I gotta go see this car at Shangri-La.
Oh, yeah.
If y'all have ever been to Shangri-La, you need to go there,
Yeah.
just for her apple pie.
Yeah.
It's remote out, and you do it remotely from your boat.
Well, Jimmy,
Well,
if
it's-
that's your birthday, I'll bet you, I would bet, I'd be willing to bet if this party
might try.
not had a cake.
Glad we moved it home today.
She's been known to bake stuff.
Also,
You guys missed out yesterday on hers.
Double.
She just
chocolate
randomly
fudge.
brings
oh,
stuff.
my.
Man, I must, you don't have any left, you must have missed my invitation.
She's surprised us, didn't know, she was supposed to bring it today, but I guess. She got
We had a misfortunate,
Somebody ate it all.
we had a
Oh, I know
misfortunate
they-
chain of events that I had no water at my house.
Oh, no.
So it's supposed to be fixed today. My son broke the water.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, if that's all right with y'all, when I make a motion, we'll just say back on 15.
Yep.
Y'all time to do things. I appreciate your, being here with us today. We covered a lot, a little longer meeting, but I think it was a great meeting. I appreciate it.
I mentioned two things. Last time we were in, I mentioned about dealers outside of their market area, delivering into the dealer's market area. Michael Moix had a good thing about if somebody sells a motor home in his area, he's adjusting blinds and everything like that. I don't know if you get paid for that or not. If there is a unit in the power sports industry that is sold and it's delivered here and it's not pre-delivered correctly, which we just went through that with Gentry Chevrolet, he's getting his cars pre-delivered at another dealership. Okay, none of my 5 manufacturers will reimburse me for something that wasn't done on pre-delivery. Stuff is being brought in, you can do everything by e-signature and have a vehicle delivered to your doorstep. It's outside of my market area. At some point, we're gonna have to address that. I have a second dealership. And I could sell stuff into the franchises that I don't sell there, but it would create just havoc. And I don't do that, I never have done it. But that is something that we need to think about on that. And my second point is all the people that are coming forward asking for forgiveness on fees. Let one thing go late for the state of Arkansas, you're paying a penalty and interest. If we could, if I really think we ought to hold the people, think about holding their feet to the fire. We've got a grant of $250,000 to technical schools. If some of that fine money can be put over in it to give the students, the colleges, we've got extra ones applying. Because I'm gonna say that Michael Moix, that Scott Wood, myself, maybe Gerald Sailors, need technicians. And they're scarce out there, a good one. You've got to start them young. You got to train them, the technical schools. It's an ideal setup that the state has right now. But it's funding. I think Daniel would like to have more money to give out to schools. I'm almost certain that he's gonna have more schools applying, so it's gonna lessen the money that goes out to the schools that apply, and none of the shop equipment has gotten cheaper. So, you know, the break that we give a corporation, who misses that? The break that we give an individual, I agree with that. The Gentry man, he's in a real tough spot. Insurance company he's paid out the nose for his policy. That could happen to any of us in business. We could be sitting there and have a devastating tornado, fire, and them hold us off about we lose our employees in that timeline. You know, we may not have the money to set up portable where it's agreeable with our manufacturers, because they can be tough with you too. But that's my 2 cents worth on that.
No, I agree. I've been through a fire and My insurance company was there the next day, writing a check. And so I don't, I don't understand what Federated's doing to. But, I wasn't with Federated and like I said, they even paid my mechanics the tools that were, really to the fire the next day.
We had a break-in years ago, and I had insurance on the shop tools and technicians' tools they paid. We've had a break-in. They got some merchandise. My insurance company paid. It wasn't Federated. Federated calls on me every renewal year and gives me a quote, but like anyone else, I'm looking, what am I getting for my dollar? I think there's nothing we can do to help that man, but I really feel for him. But I really personally, I think the corporation's coming forward asking for forgiveness. We've forgiven since I've been on this commission. I think they'll pay. That's my 2 cents worth.
Well, Michael, to your point on that, with respect to the late fees. So the late fees and license revenue fees, they all go into the same pot in the grant fund that we have every year that's funded up to 250. That money just gets transferred over into the fund from that pot. So it all goes, all those fees you're talking about, they do go towards the grant fund. So any fees that are paid.
That money would go for a good cause.
I wish we could do more.
In that, I think everybody wants to adjourn. I
went by the Tesla service facility and they had 11 new Teslas sitting in front. It's more than, it was only 8 last time, but it's 11 this time.
So is there anything happening with that? I don't know, from the commission standpoint.
I hadn't been in to try to buy one yet. I was thought about doing that.
All those in favor say aye.
I'll put adjourn. No question.
It's a prize. If they want to stay, go for it.
Recording stopped.